Love Men That Kill, Part 2. How did Ted Bundy conceive a child while on death row? Many women knew the infamous killer, Ted Bundy. But one woman would get to know him a little bit better. Her name was Carol Boone, and her and Ted had known each other before he was arrested. Carol and Ted met in 1974. They were co-workers at the Department of Emergency Services in Olympia, Washington. Although the two instantly admired each other, they remained platonic for a while. Eventually, they started dating. While they had an interesting relationship, Ted was engaging in his killing spree without Carol's knowledge. It's always been highly publicized that Carol thought Ted was innocent, that there was no way he committed those crimes. Later, after Ted was arrested, he proposed to Carol when she took the stand as one of the witnesses during his hearing. And their daughter's conception has been a fascinating topic for many years. She was reportedly conceived when her dad was in prison serving time on death row. It is alleged that Ted or Carol, one or the other, bribed correctional officers into giving them conjugal visits. Or, Carol gave Ted an empty condom, he filled it, and returned it back to her. But she would later state that the correctional officers just didn't care, and that these correctional officers had even walked in on them a few times and did nothing. They just walked back out and left. Now, at the time, Carol believed that Ted was innocent. She would often take their daughter, Rosa Bundy, to see him in prison. But all of a sudden, Carol left Ted. She took her child and they moved to Florida and changed their names. Because Ted basically confessed the murders to her on a phone call. It's been said that Carol was so devastated by Ted's death row confessions to his murders that she even refused a final phone call from him. And 3 years after their divorce, Ted was executed on January 24th of 1989. Now, Carol passed away in a rest home some years ago, but Carol and her daughter Rosa have never wanted the spotlight. Now, I wanted to talk about this relationship in particular for a reason. It really shows how far these women will go when they are in love or obsessed with these killers. And as this comment says, some of these women are suffering from a psychiatric condition called hybristophilia, an obsession or falling in love with a serial killer. And these women will go to great lengths to be with this killer. Some of these women have 2 and 3 jobs, they'll sell their properties, they will do whatever they have to do to pay for court hearings, to send money for canteen, and they will spend tons of money to be closer to the killer. One lady alleges that she spent over $1,000 a month on phone calls to her inmate boyfriend, who is pulling a life sentence. I think this is so selfish to have a child with a man who is on death row. Children of death row inmates suffer the most because most of these kids aren't allowed to get any visitations with that parent, so they never really get to know them. A couple of letters a week just isn't enough support for a child. A lot of children of death row inmates say that they hold a lot of guilt because of the crimes their parents committed. They often feel ashamed and embarrassed, and they're angry because they too feel like a victim of that parent. These children also say they grew up feeling scared because they never knew when their parent was going to be executed. Many children like Rosa Bundy are forced to live their life in hiding because of what their parents did. They are afraid of public outrage and retaliation, along with personal shame and embarrassment. So I totally understand why children of death row inmates feel this way, and I think what they did is very selfish.